All right, y'all, we back for another one. We got Uniform Commercial Code Article 2 dash, 1-205. We got reasonable time, seasonableness. All right, and remember, captions are a part of the Uniform Commercial Code. So reasonable time, and then that punctuation right there. And then seasonableness is after that punctuation. So that tells me they're going to talk about two different type of topics. Okay, reasonable time and seasonableness. All right, so now we got my Black's Law Dictionary to my left. Like always, I stay with that. So we're going to look up our first word, which is on the page. The first word, reasonable. All right, so now this word is a tricky word. I see it so often when I'm doing my reading and studies, and I can never get nothing clear from it. So look, here's how the Black's Law defines reasonable. So we got fair, proper, or moderate under the circumstances. Okay. Sensible, reasonable pay. Okay, that's like a contextual breakdown it has for that word. So like if you made a person mow, like lawnmower, like mow 1 acre of land and you only paid them $10, that wouldn't be reasonable, fair, or proper under the circumstance. That wouldn't make any sense. Why would you only give someone $10 for mowing the whole? All right, so think of it in that context. All right, and then here's the second definition of the word. We got according to reason. And then here's another contextual breakdown. Your argument is reasonable but not convincing. So another related word to this word is plausible. So that's another word. And then here's a little commentary. It says, it is extremely difficult to state what lawyers mean when they speak of reasonableness. And part of the expression refers to ordinary ideas of natural law or natural justice. So in part to logical thought working upon the basis of the rules of law. Okay. So in the part of logical thought working upon the basis of the rules of law. Right, so for something to be reasonable, you have to be working upon the basis of the rules of law. Then it has another source. It says John Solomon, Jurisprudence 183, Glanville L. Williams edition 10th. All right, so then we'll look up the next. Let me see. They got reasonable. Okay, so they got reasonable time in here, so let's look up that too. So we got reasonable and then reasonable time. So it says, with regards to contracts, the time needed to do what a contract requires to be done, based on subjective circumstances. If the contracting parties do not fix a time for performance, the law will usually presume a reasonable time, which is the law will presume the time needed to do what a contract requires to be done. Right, so whatever, you got to search and find what that means, right? So here's the second sense of the word dealing with commercial law. It says the time during which the UCC, which is what we're reading, permits a party to accept an offer, inspect goods, substitute conforming goods for rejected goods, and the like. All right, and then we're going to look up seasonableness. All right, seasonableness. Okay, so we got seasonable. All right, so seasonable, within the time agreed on, within a reasonable time, seasonal performance of the contract. All right, so that's the third time we saw contract. So contract deals with seasonable and reasonableness. Okay, so let's look up agreed, because seasonableness is within the time agreed. So let's see what agreed is, or agree. Okay, so we got agree. So to unite in thought. So what did the two contracting parties in thought right? Subjectively unite to say this is the time, right? So it says to unite in thought, to concur in opinion or purpose, to exchange promises, to unite in an engagement to do or not do something. Okay, so that's agreed. So what did you guys unite in thought, right? And then the UCC gives time frames for certain things if you guys didn't agree on it in the contract, right? So it's like one thing I'm learning too by reading, guys, is that everything's like a hierarchy. You know how you got the Supreme Court, the federal, the state, right? So you got all that hierarchy, right? So I'm thinking in every situation it's sort of the same. Like first you got your contract, right? And then you got a law that's dealing with the contract, right? So then the law doesn't really specify the exact time. The UCC does, but then a reasonable is within the contract. So that's what you guys agreed on in the contract, right? Okay. All right, so it says whether a time for taking an action, right? This means go to court, right? So in the sense of judicial proceedings includes recoupment, counterclaim, set off, suit in equity, and any other proceeding in which rights are determined, right? So that's court or the action they were supposed to take under. I'm sorry, no, this is only talking about court. Yeah, okay. Required by the Uniform Commercial Code is reasonable, depends on the nature, purpose, and circumstances of the action. Okay. So an action is taken seasonably if it is taken at or within the time agreed, right? Or so what did you guys say? Hey, in the contract, did you agree, hey, you can only bring actions in a year or 2 or 3, right? So if it's within the agreed, would you guys united in thought, or if no time is agreed at or within a reasonable time, right? And we read reasonable time. All right, so that's reasonable time and seasonableness.